Given that difficulty concentrating and focusing tends to be a common thread among a lot of different mental health conditions affecting teens, I know a lot of great strategies for helping you break the cycle of procrastination and getting that homework done fast. Hi, I'm Mallory Grimste, and I am a teen therapist. The very first thing that you want to do is you want to set the mood. So go ahead and get your music situated, clear your space that you'll be working at, make sure if there's any scents that you enjoy that you have those going to. You want to create an environment where you can feel relaxed but not sleepy and focused. Next, after you've got your environment feeling nice and cozy, you want to make sure that you have everything that you need. So any books, papers, writing utensils, any supplies that you might need, go ahead and get those set up where you'll be working. If you're using any sort of electronic devices, make sure that they're connected to the Wi-Fi or plugged into a power source. That's the worst thing when you're working on something and then the computer just goes dead. Next, you want to go ahead and create a master list of assignments. You can do this electronically, like on Google Docs, or you can put it in a calendar or a planner, or you can just use a piece of paper, whatever works for you. Now, this master list is going to include all the assignments and their due dates. Don't worry about organizing the master list. If you want to go ahead and organize the master list in some system that works for you, go for it. But you don't have to do that because this next step will help you with that. And that is to take a small piece of paper. Now this, I don't want you to use a digital thing. I want you to use an actual piece of paper and pen or pencil. And I want you to write down the 3 most important assignments. Now, this could be the paper that is due tomorrow. It could be reading 2 chapters of a book. It could be even just getting clear on what assignments are due when, but limit it to 3. Even if you have more than 3 assignments to do, stick with 3 for now. I'm a Post-it note gal, so I always write my 3 most important assignments on a Post-it note, and then I put that somewhere where I'm going to see it. And that master list, I put it away for now. See, the thing with the master list is it will continue to grow and evolve. And if your teachers are anything like my teachers were, you know that as soon as you knock out 1 assignment, they've got 3 more coming up. So always stopping and referencing the master list isn't really helpful because you always feel like you're having to catch up. Now that you have your 3 most important assignments, this is what you're going to focus on. By focusing only on 3 at a time, it helps build some motivation and keep you clear and focused on what is the priority right now. And as you complete those tasks, you can go ahead and cross those off. After you've completed all 3, go back to your master list. You can either remove them or move them onto a done list, which feels really great too, and restart that process with 3 more most important assignments. And you'll see once you get going, it's really easy to keep that focus and motivation up. I'm a big fan of working in what's called Pomodoros. And this is a time management productivity strategy where you set a timer for 25 minutes and you focus on 1 task or 1 assignment for that 25 minutes. Once that 25 minutes is up, you take a 5-minute break. I recommend making this break a bio break. And by that, I mean make sure that you use the bathroom, get a drink of water, have a snack or a meal if it's meal time, and then come back and you'll be ready to focus again. You'll be amazed at how much you can accomplish in that short amount of time. If you're still having trouble with this and you just can't seem to get into the flow or motivated, I really highly recommend trying to use a distraction journal. So what this is you take a piece of paper, and again, not digital because it's really easy to go down the YouTube rabbit hole or check your messages or who texted me. So I would really stay away from digital for this, but you want to take a piece of paper or a notebook, and every time you find yourself being distracted, write down what the impulse or urge was to be distracted. Whether you were being distracted by your thoughts or the urge to pick up your phone or you needed to use the bathroom, whatever the distraction was. Maybe it's something outside like your dog was barking. So after you have that first list, every time you experience that distraction again, I want you to just tick a mark off. And at the end, you'll be able to see which are your most highly distracting habits. And from there, once you're aware of what is distracting you, you can then plan and prepare ahead. So for me, I know that actually just picking up my phone, not having a reason to, just checking and seeing what's going on my phone is a huge distraction. So I will actually sometimes put it on airplane mode and put it in a drawer in another room. That way, if I am really feeling an intense urge to distract myself and go on my phone, I have to go into another room, into another drawer, and turn it on. Now, you don't have to go that extreme, but if you do, let me know. Tell me if it works for you too. And one of the most important things is to know that you're not going to get this done perfectly well 100% of the time. We are human beings. We're not supposed to be perfect. We're not supposed to do everything correct. So please be kind to yourself. Remind yourself that you are a human being. You are allowed to make mistakes and to learn from them. And there's always an opportunity for growth and improvement. So as you're going through this, make sure that you periodically check in and assess and reassess if this is working or not for you. You may have to change it up based on your energy level or what tasks you have to complete. And that's okay. Being flexible with yourself is okay. You want to be able to let your teacher know what it is that you're feeling inside, but you don't even know how to start the conversation. I've got you. If that is something that you're into, please be sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on that bell notification. That way you are notified every single time I post a new video. I'm going to be answering the question that I get a lot from you guys, which is how do you talk to your school and your teachers about the anxiety you're feeling? Your education is important, but so is your mental health. And I don't think that you should have to choose between them. If you agree, hit that like button. If you disagree, let us know why in the comments below. So I want to start off by reminding you that your teachers actually do want you to succeed. I know we all have those experiences of those teachers who come off strong and say,
I am not one of those teachers that gives everyone an A. You have to earn an A. And
they're really strict and they're really scary and they're really hard at the beginning. And some of them stay that way. But a lot of them are softies. A lot of teachers get into education because they have found learning such a valuable part of their own life experience that they want to give that gift to future students as well. Plus, the way our educational system works here in the United States is your success as a student reflects on their success as a teacher. So they're doubly motivated to help you succeed. So keep that in mind when you're feeling worried or afraid. They want you to do well. And you don't have to tell them everything. In fact, I would advise against sharing too much about your mental health struggles with your teachers. So your teachers are there to help educate you. They're not there to be your therapists. They do so many things already for you, and they might not be the best equipped person to go too deep into your emotional experience. Sometimes they can be great supports, but it's not a guarantee. So keep it on a need-to-know basis. And I would talk about it in terms of how your symptoms are being impacted or affect your ability to learn and access education. So for example, if your anxiety or stress or depression is so extreme that it's impacting your ability to sleep at night, that's probably going to affect your concentration in school and when you're doing your schoolwork. If you can let your teacher know ahead of time or while it's happening, before the paper is due or overdue, or before the assignment is past completion, you let them know that this is something that you're working with your medical providers on. They may be a little more understanding about why you might need an extra day or two to get an assignment in. In the United States, we have the Fair Access to Public Education Act, also called FAPE. And what FAPE does is it offers legal protections to make sure that no child who is being impacted by a health condition lets that affect their access to learning. If you're concerned that the impact of your mental health condition is not taken seriously by your school or public education system, you can have your parents request a meeting in writing to have them evaluate what modifications your teachers legally should be implementing to modify your work. Now, the goal here is not to eliminate education, it's to make it easier for you to adapt learning to your experience. When you do talk to your teacher, let them know what's not working. And please don't make this a you conversation. Talk about it from an I perspective. It's probably not helpful to use this conversation as a platform to tell the teacher why they're bad at teaching. I don't know about you, I don't like to be told when I'm bad at something. When you start the conversation like that, you're really putting all the ownership on the teacher, and while that may be true, it's probably not going to help your case. When people feel attacked, they start to get defensive and then they don't want to help you. They want to protect themselves. So if you're wanting your teacher's help, probably don't mention that you think they suck as a teacher. Instead, talk about your own experience from an I perspective. So you can do this by saying, it feels really difficult to read this many chapters in one night when I'm having difficulty concentrating right now. And see what suggestions the teacher has. And be willing to stay open and curious to what your teacher has to say. They may suggest things that you already have tried or are trying. That doesn't mean that they're not a good suggestion. And they may suggest something that you might not have even thought of. Most teachers know what they're doing. Otherwise, they wouldn't be teaching. Be prepared to ask for what you need. If you don't ask for it, the answer will always be no. If you ask for it, it may still be no, but it might be a yes. You don't know until you try. Whatever you do, make sure that you keep talking with them about it. These are rarely one and done conversations because circumstances change over time, as will your experience and theirs. We're always growing and learning and changing, so the more that you talk about it, the less effort you have to put into each subsequent conversation because you'll already have this kind of shared base knowledge to start with. And if you're struggling with knowing how to talk about your feelings, I have a great free download of my 10 therapist approved tips for talking about your feelings that you can download right now when you click the link in the description below. Are you a perfectionist? You may believe that if you're going to do something, you might as well do it well, which is not a bad belief system to hold, but if it's getting in your way and you find yourself not able to start or finish things, then perfectionism is not working for you. And if we're being realistic, I'm not sure that perfect exists. One of my mentors actually has a plaque in the back of her videos that says, "Done is better than perfect," and I could not agree more. So if you find perfectionism getting in your way, like it has for me, I'm going to share the ways that I make sure that perfectionism doesn't hold me back so that you can learn to do the same. Learning to practice self-compassion is hugely important if perfectionism is something that gets in your way. Self-compassion is the practice of being kind to yourself when you're a human being. Human beings have flaws, they make mistakes, and they're not supposed to know everything and do everything right the first time. Being judgmental or critical of yourself to the point where you can't even do anything about it can actually keep you stuck. It limits how far you can go. Some ways that you can practice self-compassion is imagine that you have a friend dealing with a situation that you're in. What would you say to them? And then say it to yourself. Repeating positive affirmations and reminding yourself that I may not be perfect and I'm working to improve this area can be hugely beneficial as well. Now, this next strategy is a little controversial, but it's super effective. One of the reasons that perfectionism holds us back is that you have this irrational belief that if it's not done perfectly, if you make a mistake, then that's it. It's over. So one of the ways that you can challenge that belief is to actually make a little mistake on purpose and see what happens. Now, don't do this with your SATs, please. That's super important. Like, don't be like, oh, you know what? I'm just gonna choose not to study for my SATs and we're just gonna see what happens. That is not what I'm saying here. I mean something that's really low risk. Like, for example, one of the things that I actually recommend to people is to walk around with 2 mismatched socks if that's not typically your style. See if anybody notices. Do they treat you differently? If you're ready for something a little more risky, but not devastating, going to a public place, whether that's the school library, your local coffee shop, it could even be on the school bus, wherever. And when you're there, start to listen to music on your phone with your headphones in. But here's the key. Forget to plug your headphones in all the way. That way, it can look like you made the mistake of playing music on your phone without fully plugging in your headphones. You'll probably find that most people won't even notice or say anything. And if they do notice, they're just going to call to your attention like, hey, I don't know if you realize, but your headphones aren't plugged in all the way. And if somebody's being a huge jerk about it, that's on them. You know that you made a mistake and that's okay. This next tip is a favorite of mine. And that is to ask the focusing question. If you're not familiar, there's a book called The One Thing. It's a book all about improving your productivity. It's a little nerdy, so if you're nerdy and you want to know like the science and why it works, I highly recommend reading the book. I really enjoyed it, but the concept or the strategies within there are super effective for stopping perfectionism from holding you back. And the focusing question is really motivating for helping you just get started. So what is the focusing question? It's where you consider all the things that you need to do, which can feel really overwhelming, and it's hard to prioritize like where to start, especially when they're all important, like studying for midterms. So what you can do instead is ask yourself this question. What is the one thing that if I get that done will make everything else feel easier and more manageable? And the thing is, it may not actually be a task on your list. For example, sometimes my one thing is just catching up on laundry. I know that when my laundry is clean and put away and I don't have to worry about what shirt am I going to wear, are those pants clean, do I have any socks, it is so much easier to get ready in the morning. And that makes for a really successful day for me. Otherwise, if I'm feeling crunched for time or stressed out because I can't find the shirt that I want to wear, that just sets the tone for the day. And while I can turn it around, it would have made my life so much easier if I just knew that all my laundry was clean and put away. So what is the one thing that you're going to start on now? Put it in the comments below so we can support you. And I will be following up to check in on you. You've had it pretty rough. Many of you left your schools back in March expecting to see you on Monday, and that never came. This is not what we envisioned. Instead, you're stuck at home, away from your friends, away from your social supports, trying to figure out this new online school that even your teachers can't figure out. All the while feeling worried about loved ones who are sick or potentially at risk of becoming sick, and worrying about how this will impact your future as a whole. This is hard. And with all these disappointments piling up, how are you supposed to deal with it? Your generation is in a really unique situation in that all of you are going through the same stressors at the same time. The impact of this global pandemic is affecting an entire generation together. So that in and of itself is a really unique circumstance. It's different than going through a natural disaster where only a small section of the population is impacted or affected, like Hurricane Katrina. That being said, just because you're going through it together doesn't mean that it's easy. And I want you to know, regardless of what you think and feel, your experience is real and it's valid. It matters. So while this is not a community that you ever sought to belong to, we're in this together. There's something to the idea of balancing change with acceptance. There's a concept in dialectical behavior therapy called radical acceptance, which is accepting what is. So it's not getting so attached to what was supposed to be or should be, and it's just noticing and acknowledging that this is the reality right now. At the same time, you don't have to just blindly accept that. I think that striving for some sort of change and outcome is really important. So while things are not the way that we plan them to be, what are some areas for improvement and change that you can benefit from? Please stop shooting on yourself. That's the idea of getting stuck on, oh, I should be doing this should be happening. When you shoot on yourself, you're staying stuck in what is, and you're not able to get to where you have control of the situation. You're kind of just accepting that this is happening to you, and that's it. That can feel really self-defeating. When you find yourself getting into a have to mindset, I want you to try to replace the words have to with get to. Instead of
I have to do my homework online now,
you can say, I get to do my homework online now. Instead of saying,
I have to wait until next spring to walk with my class,
try saying, I get to wait until next spring to walk with my class. Making that small little shift in language can actually improve your mindset so that you're more appreciative of what opportunities exist. Which is a great next thing to do. Ask yourself, what is the opportunity here? Things are not the way that they're supposed to be or that we ever planned them to be. But what other unforeseen opportunity exists here? I really like to play the what if game. So the what if game is where you go through a list of all the negative what ifs. What if I never get to graduate? What if they tell me I have to take the SATs before I can get in? What if I'm not allowed to apply to college? All these really negative what ifs, and let your mind go wild with it, because if you don't let it out, it's gonna stay festering in your brain and your body. After you spend a period of time with that, then take a few moments and consider the neutral what ifs. What if nothing changes? What if I still get my degree? What if I don't have to repeat this class? All just kind of like the neutral things. They don't really have a strong positive or negative charge to them. Now, this is where it gets really fun. I want you to explore all of the positive possibilities here. And again, let your mind go wild. What if I graduate with honors? What if I'm able to graduate early? What if I have more time to work on a skill? What if I deepen my friendships? Really go wild here with all the positive possibilities, and you may see some other rooms for opportunity that you didn't see before. And as you start finding the opportunities, you'll start to feel a little more in control of what's happening to you and around you. While we can't control the shelter-in-place status or the impact of the virus, we can control things like how we choose to spend our time, what we do to help, what we choose to focus on, what areas we want to improve in our own lives. And that can feel really powerful. You are a human being, and this stuff is hard. It's real. I want you to remind yourself that it's okay to have crappy, crummy days. You're allowed to feel exhausted. You're allowed to feel anxious. You're allowed to feel depressed. You're allowed to experience neutrality. Whatever your emotional and physical experiences at this time, I want you to know that that is okay. If what you're experiencing becomes overwhelming or problematic, I would really encourage you to link up with some sort of counseling. We know that therapy can be really helpful for improving your social connections and supports, which is why I offer group therapy. I highly recommend that you watch the video on your screen right now if you're curious about how group therapy can help you overcome fear and self-doubt. If you found this information helpful, please share it with others. It could really help. Thanks for watching.